How are you?
Good.
Oh, let me save it.
It is sad to know that there's always, that Blowhardy is always here. Blowhardy's always here. Because I really did give you that look like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't even.
Did you start?
Did you ask me how I was? Have I got a story for you?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't want to ever say testing again.
You don't have to.
That's my new laugh.
That's not good.
No.
You might want to test that.
No. It's my new laugh. No. This is worse than Blowhardy. It's like stubborn jerky. No.
Andy, we call that.
That's my laugh. What are you going to do? It's confronty. Well.
That'd be your magician's name, I think.
Confronty. And now, sir,
There's nothing in the hat. That's on me. Okay, fine. You come up here. You get something out of the hat.
Hey, sir, enough with the staring, okay? I mean, why don't you
You said, hey, sir, and she heard, hey, Siri. I fucking hate hey, Siri. Turn it off.
I don't like... Oh, what do you mean?
You can turn off the hey, Siri function and just press the button.
The thing is, I didn't know that getting into Siri would be negative.
It happens to Allison when she goes, hey, sweetie.
Who says that?
That's it. Allison says that to me, and then
oh no,
Siri pops up.
Hey Siri, turn yourself off. Turn yourself off, Siri. No. You could turn yourself off in settings. Hey Siri, turn yourself off in settings. No. Hey Siri. Hey Siri, what part of I want you to turn me off in settings don't you understand? This is unbelievable. You know what's amazing? Is that even in the age of robots and all kinds of GPS voices, I'm still looking at the device as if it's a person, and I'm waiting for their answer, and they are a person.
They're not a person.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, how do I know
They're still your enemy? Don't get me wrong. But they aren't.
How do I know you're another being?
You don't have to know. It's on a need-to-know basis.
That's my new podcast pitch.
Yeah.
You know, you have these inside the brain ones.
Questions a stone 14-year-old might ask with Andy Kindler.
I'm laughing the bitter laughter of a person who at 14 argued with a friend about the JDL.
What's the Jewish Defense League?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you pro or con?
I was con. I'm con any of those. I'm con radical. First of all, Jewish people, it's counterintuitive to make yourself obnoxious. Like, I'm going to kick your ass, you know? You're already, you spend most of your life trying to blend in.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not if you're Confronty the Great.
No, but I mean, I think one of the reasons why Jews are so easily, not easily...
Persecuted? Is that what you're doing?
Inferred? No.
Ejected from countries around the world?
I'm just wrestling with what you mean by suggested. That's my favorite Bill Burr. It's not Bill Burr, right? Bill Barr. My favorite Bill Barr line.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with what you mean by because you're a liar.
Right. I'm buying time by trying to
because everything you say is a lie, and all you have to do is back up your language for some future investigation. Because lawyers ironed out all details, cause Daddy had to lie. I maintain that I gotta laugh because I maintained eye contact with you during it.
Maybe that was
Daddy had to lie. So here's the
Still eye contact, no more words. It's not working.
It's the end of the, and I love that. Well, which one? There's also, I saw a dead head sticker on a Cadillac. Maybe he doesn't say it twice.
No, he doesn't.
I like that kind of, I like the album, but then I got sick of it.
He said never look back twice.
And you could never look back. He said, that's why we don't have that advantage in comedy. We can't just repeat things like Chris Rock does with every joke.
He doesn't do it with every joke, just every premise.
Right. Women.
You know his premise by the time he gets to the punchline.
Women are robots who are operated by an operating... It's not funny so far, but this will be the example.
No, but you're going to say it 9 times, so at least memorize it.
Let me save you the energy. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm very excited about being here. I always forget things. Oh, wait a second. Welcome to the show. Don't you feel that's is that an odd, we have not done anything that would require or indicate that we would be welcoming anybody to anything.
We haven't exactly been an on-ramp yet.
Yeah. But also, that's also a...
Andy David Kindler is a rotten David Swindler in the morning.
In the morning, hey! And we're going to go out to the Fat Nose and Brat Nose, who are at the, those would be my two.
At the auto show.
All right, I feel good. So far tonight, I feel like, I don't know how long we've gone, but this is one of my best shows.
Yeah, you're on.
I had my new phone last week, right?
You did, yes.
And I continue to have it this week.
Excellent. And it still recognizes you.
It does, but for a long time, for
I figured out that's why you like that phone. It's because at least someone will always recognize you.
Hey, look, you're not going to make me knock all. Do I have to go through a whole rigmarole to get you to accept me? No, right? Huh? And swipe up. I also like that the thing about this phone that's simple is you swipe. Yeah. If all else fails, all you need is one swipe.
You know what the worst feature of the new iPhones are?
Me?
People talking about them, really.
Oh, my God. You will never, and for so long, you can't, if someone wants to take our show and make it like a new product show or, like a CES electronics oriented show, you won't be up for it.
That's probably true.
What are we looking at this week, Josh? Well, the new pogo sticks are in.
That's right. This time they have Bluetooth. They'll connect you right to the ER.
That would be good. I can still, as you're saying it, as you're talking about it, I'm still not exactly right back there, but very close to that feeling. And the feeling always is you desperately want to get a laugh during those bits.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're already embarrassing yourself to some degree.
Right. You're overcommitted.
I'm overcommitted. Right. Yeah. Sure. Put on a thing. Yeah. Sure. And so
this will all cut together great.
And you're already disappointed that some of the earlier bits haven't gone well because of the toy fair. I look back at the footage.
Right. How can I lose at a toy fair, you're thinking?
No, I actually was worried. I always worry about how I can lose in every field piece. How
can I lose at lunch, you're thinking?
Well, no, I mean, we did things like went to the luggage where people lost luggage.
Yeah.
And then you just go, what if I run out of things to ask people, which you do.
Sure.
So this is where people send all their luggage when it's... But
you have guys on scene...
Writing.
People
are writing, yes.
Right.
Jeremy Weiner was right there writing things.
Yeah.
That I wasn't committed to. I'm just saying, a lot of people have been writing and asking, it looks like those field pieces, you made them look easy, Andy.
You went on with American Pickers once, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I for a couple of minutes, I was going to watch that show, but I didn't watch them. But I did notice, I guess it's long enough.
I watch that show a lot now. It's one of those late night meditative things on TV for me.
I could see how that would be. Do you want me to tell you a little bit of the back? I don't think I get hurt telling the backstory now.
I vaguely remember seeing the piece, and my takeaway from it was these guys don't want a guy funnier than them around them. Not
exactly, but that is so warm. It's very hot, but I don't think you'll get there from where you are.
Okay.
Go say what it is the one guy is the lead head guy.
Right.
Maybe.
Mike.
He's a taller guy?
Yeah. It's Mike and Frank.
Okay. And they say, look, can you direct some things to Frank? Because he always feels like Mike takes over.
Yeah.
So that's the backstory.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Now is Mike seemed to, I watch them and I go, they're both charming fellers.
Mike actually, I think, is the business owner.
Because he has the shop too, right?
Yeah. And I think Frank is an employee, I think.
Right. And sometimes I think but whatever, they weren't saying that he feels sad, but they were just saying, please play to him more and be
right.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's all you need before you do comedy.
Right.
Is I don't even know if I can be funny. And now you want me to direct humor to one of you two?
Right. And make it the needier guy.
Yeah.
So I don't love those guys, but I do like the process of haggling and seeing these people who have these hoarders.
Yes. I think it's most of the shows that are on cable that are these type of shows are shows that make you feel like, wow, I'd really like to watch a good documentary about this, or two knowledgeable guys who they cut together. Like even Huell Hauser, I think, spent more time cutting together the various. I don't know if he did or not.
No, Huell Hauser let it run a lot more than American Pickers did.
Like my parents loved the Antiques Roadshow,
right?
And it's a great show. I actually have more feelings towards that show because I don't know anything like my parents know about antiques. In fact, I know nothing about them. But I really appreciated when I was a kid that they knew things about things and they could point things out. So on the
it just moves too damn slow for me.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying it's great.
Though I used to be friends with Mark Wahlberg, who's the host of that show for the last several years.
And I know everybody says this and they get confused. He's never was related to the other Wahlbergs, right?
No, he was not.
And was he like the host of Slime Time or something?
Something like that, yeah.
How'd you meet him? Did you just tell me that already?
No, okay. I met him through another host, Mark DiCarlo.
I know Mark DiCarlo. He was a dating show, Studs?
Studs was his big thing.
Are you impressed by my knowledge of every kind of show?
He years ago, he hired me to basically write a stand-up act for and with him. So we spent like a month at his house every day writing an act for him.
And I don't want to say was that well paid, but it was paid, right?
It was paid, yeah.
Yeah. Was that fun for you, that kind of work?
Yeah,
fun?
It was fun, yeah.
Or did you ever
if you get a guy who trusts you,
yes.
You know, and then it's that kind of thing is fun for me, absolutely. And, we got him, what he wanted was 10 or 15 minutes that worked so he could do appearances.
Right. And he's actually seems like a funny guy.
He was a very funny guy, and he had sort of a stand-up sensibility to him, so it was just sort of teaching him how to hit the right parts of the joke and, a lot of self-deprecating stuff because his fame was about studs at the time.
Yes. Like that, if that had been my credit, I'd be all over. I know what you people are thinking. It's the host of Studs, blah, blah, blah. That's why I can't write for anybody because people will go, well, that's not really writing anything, Andy. I know what you people are thinking. It's a Studs guy, right? Sell it. Now, he sounds like he's a member of a famous family, but no. But
there is Yvonne DiCarlo.
That's who I thought.
That's what you're thinking of, yeah.
Well, DiCarlo. Now I'm thinking he's probably an Italian. He's an Italian fella.
He is indeed.
And this maybe
a Chicago fella.
Like I like classic Italian guys like this Mike Ciccolini. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but he's one of the representatives, Democrats, and he just reminds me of Italian guys from Queens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to launch into a whole bit now, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah. He doesn't have the yeah. Hey.
How do you not have that down? That's what my question is.
Yeah. Hey, too bad. Hey, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey. I'm from Brooklyn. Hey. Where you from? The Bronx? The Bronx? No good? They look like.
You know your accent from any place is undeveloped?
I've been working on my Australian accent.
If your first line of any impression is, this is what it is.
This is what it is.
Right.
And then I say...
I'm Clark Gable.
Wait, I think after our new movie, we have another...
I'm Dr. Joseph Mengele. See, that's a bad impression.
I'm going to try and do your impression now. Okay. I'm Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Wow.
Not bad.
Wow, it's like speaking into a mirror.
Because a mirror has no sound.
Exactly.
And it deadens it.
Yes.
And all you have is the awful reflection back.
Right. You really parsed that well.
I'm telling you. Yes. I went to a class this week. I took a podcast seminar. Well, you know what's amazing, Josh? I'm not saying we have to go to this because we're not necessarily going to this. But I brought music.
Wow.
You know what? But here's the problem.
Yeah.
I brought music, and what is motivating me the whole time?
What's that? Guilt?
Yeah, you played CBGBs. Yeah. Oh, I was coming up during that time. Oh, yeah, you were, Andy? What's another place from that time period? Mud Club? Yeah, Andy. I remember you headlining at the Mud Club.
Wow, you heard me much less funny than I was.
So, I've been struggling with this all week. And in fact, Susan at one point said, when are you going to bring everything over to the people in Burbank who'll make the copies?
Right. Does that have any kind of card to it?
So, I I went output of my cassette deck into the line input here.
Yeah.
And now I have it recorded here. I know I've gotten things off of here before.
Okay.
But I can't remember because it says a little supplied cord. That doesn't look like a regular USB, does it?
No.
Do you have a tiny one? But anyway, I know that's not the only way to get it off. I don't understand. I think that does a card go in?
It doesn't look like there's a card. It looks like it's a little internal.
No, I got everything on these babies. I got this thing too.
Is there a card? Is everything on there on that card?
No, because I used the internal memory like an idiot.
Well, can you put it onto that card from there?
Yeah,
Save to card?
Can you give me? It said card error.
Ooh.
I can. So if you gave me a spot, like I only need 4 minutes of an SD card.
Okay.
This could be it.
We can try. We can try at the break.
At the break. This shouldn't be. This should be business that happens before this. This is not. That always reminds me of The Honeymooners, where he sneaks back into the bus station 7 times and then he gets caught. You're right. You're right. Look, Josh.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you very seriously.
Okay.
And not just about my constant lapsing into bits that I don't really communicate that well.
Uh-huh.
There's other stuff going on, too.
What's going on, Andy?
Nothing really.
What's going on, Andy?
Well, I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff for tonight, and I left it on I left it on my little notebook, and I said to myself, I'm not going back. I'm already going to be at 9:04, which I thought was backsliding from last week.
The notebook labeled "Fat Lot of Good This Does Us."
Meanwhile, I haven't noticed that you have writing things down.
I don't need to. I remember what happened to me this week.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How do you do that? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. It's just like you have a regular familiarity with the recent events of your life.
I do. I mean, I may drop a ball here and there. But
Yeah. I wonder if the pot's
real
smoking.
bullet points from the last week for me.
What's that?
I got some real bullet points right up here in my noggin.
Oh, what's going on? So tell me what happened.
I don't know. Should we work backwards from today?
I say go backwards would be good.
I spent an hour in an MRI machine today.
Oh my God. And I hope this was scheduled.
No, that was just a practice round. I'm going back for the real MRI tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. You had
you're
that
acting,
face.
God, man. I think it's from the fiddling.
Getting better.
Hey, perfect timing for the fiddling thing when the guy fell off the horse, but we'll get to that later. So you practiced today, so something's going on, right? This isn't the kidney thing, is it?
No, I was kidding about the practicing thing.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, but why an hour, I guess would be my question.
Because it was, I don't know, because they had to do pelvic and abdominal, and they each took about a half hour.
And were you moving a lot?
I was not moving.
Don't move.
I was not. I was breathing as ordered. I was moving.
They get me
but
so.
I did sort of fall into a almost sleep-like trance a couple times.
That's good. That's like Susan hates it in there. A lot of people hate it in there.
This is like my 12th one or something. So at this point, it used to 5 years ago when I first started this. It was 3 weeks of dread.
Is that true? So I don't really have that, but it's a claustrophobic thing.
It was back then. After I had got sick, I got this claustrophobic thing. It was sort of my version of PTSD, I think. So for a while, I got really claustrophobic after I got sick. Like I didn't want like bed covers too tightly on me. And
wow, that makes me.
Yeah, I mean it's loosened
you were
up.
Going
now.
through a rough time.
But I had all sorts of anxiety after it happened. You know,
I've never even heard of. I mean, I know the loose cover. I've heard of people who have a sensitivity thing that they can't have covers on. But you would feel like
if my covers were too like up to my neck.
Yeah,
I would
feel
start
like
to
you're
feel
being strangled.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that dramatic. But
well, I've had claustrophobic very slightly, but it's that feeling like there's too many, it's too close, and there's too much things going on.
Yeah, and as a kid, I wasn't that way at all. I always would crawl into I loved little fort-like spaces.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a weird side effect, but it's mostly gone now. But yeah, so that wasn't fun. Then I had a CAT scan, and so
wait a second.
But this is the 5 year, so hopefully.
Oh, okay. So
now I have to do it like every 2 years after this now. So
all right.
But it was good.
That was today.
It's good that it's over.
It is good that it's over.
And I wasn't particularly stressed going in, so about what they're going to find. So.
And did you try, as I always,
which is how they get you, by the way.
What's that?
They lull you into a false sense of security, then boom, lung cancer.
That's what they do on purpose?
Yes.
I didn't. That seems unusually cruel.
I know.
I keep looking up online about how pot smoking doesn't cause lung cancer, and then I go back and I smoke more pot.
That's good.
Because I'm
At least you're conscientious participator.
proactive. Okay, so we don't know. So that was today.
That's today, so I'll get the results. But it's all when you're going in to make sure there's nothing there, as opposed to see the thing that they think is there. It's a different psychology.
Different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want bad news, and I don't want bad news for you, and I don't want anything bad. That's my philosophy.
How are your red juicy hemorrhoids?
Wait, have I talked about hemorrhoids?
Why, yes, you did.
No, I could not have talked about hemorrhoids.
They were red and juicy. Yes, you did.
No, that's not something I should have talked
It's
about.
something you talked about with great glee.
Oh, God. Is that that's the new comic I've become?
Yes. So do you have to have the pipes up, down, up and down?
Yeah, apparently, here's something in the medical news. I have to have a colonoscopy and an endoscopy because there's only
Iron, we're talking about.
Yes. Now, did you know that
You're recapping last week. So.
Am I recapping that I did the tests immediately and got the results? Back again, the same results?
Which is like you're low on iron?
Yeah, same exact results.
Yeah.
So there's only certain reasons, there's only certain causes to that.
I'm not Iron Man.
I am Iron Man. I am sir. What's Iron Man's day job's name?
Tony Stark.
Tony. We have the results of your test, and I have some very strange news. You're very low on iron.
Ironically.
That's odd, doctor, for I am Iron Man. Wait, Tony Stark, wasn't he a race car driver or something like that? Or an inventor?
Yeah, he was a genius weapons inventor.
I have to tell you something. Having grown up, looking back now, very thin jobs, day jobs on these superheroes. And also like Spider-Man, he was moody. That was considered a big thing.
He was a teenager.
Right. You didn't have that. Jimmy Olsen wasn't moody.
Sure he was.
He was?
Sure. Most of his moods were cheerful.
He's very two-dimensional.
What?
See? And you say...
You're not funny?
No, you don't say that. I'm feeling it all the time. No, what's going on? I know we're going to do this in the break. I have two of this is another way that I've spent money in my life.
Yeah.
And this is the second version of it. And I love this. This is a Sony PCM recorder.
Yeah.
And I had a bigger one.
Yeah.
And do you know how many shows I've recorded on both this one and the other one that I've probably not even listened? So I'm just saying, I recommend to the kids, spend money when you're feeling a hole inside. It was fun for a time period not having it on my phone because the phones couldn't record that well.
The phones don't give you anything other than a real work tape kind of thing.
Now you're getting close. I saw your thing.
What thing?
Your album thing.
Yes, the cover art. We're another step closer today. I'll show you that.
Cool.
I've given him the green light to go to paint now.
What does that mean, to paint?
To actually make the cover from that sketch.
Oh.
So I did not reveal the.
Don't say it.
The title of the album.
Don't say it. It's going to be I predict people will have a heart attack. At least such a surprise. When you find out that he named it Paranoid Jew Derangement Syndrome. The new album by Jack. What I know you're thinking, if I'm not saying anything funny, let's go on.
No, I'm just like marveling at your lack of flow, really.
Look, and I feel good tonight. That's the sad part. I don't feel so bad coming in. So when you said you were going to go backwards, that was today. So what else happened?
Let's see.
What else in the news?
Friday, we got our dryer vent cleaned out for like the first time ever.
I'm always scared about that because that could cause a fire, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. So,
how much stuff came out of there?
A bunch of stuff. But, it made our dryer miraculously faster.
Do you ever clean out the individual thing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, the problem was I think what happened is like for years I just couldn't find the outlet.
Yeah.
And I still can't. And even the dryer guys couldn't find it. But we believe it's coming out the roof, which is weird, but
because it could go out anywhere, right?
It should go out fairly close to, the actual machine, but instead it's 40 feet in the air from there. So they snaked it and vacuumed it out, and homeowner delight.
Did you see any of the stuff that was in there?
Yes, I did.
And did you say to yourself, I'm glad that's out?
It was just lint, so it wasn't like gross.
But you see, I was told I have central air in my luxurious condo that you visited.
Yes.
And they say that you shouldn't have those cleaned out, those, and if they're not causing a problem, because you can actually damage the ducts if you clear out central air systems.
Yeah, this wasn't a central air system.
I know. Jesus Christ. God damn it. Did I say it? Do you think I'm actually that person or close to that person, or I'm not as interesting as that guy?
We're going to have to narrow down who that guy is.
I know what you're... The guy was tired of everything. I get it, Josh.
Yeah. And then that night, I went to the Mark Taper Forum to see a Beckett play.
No, I only know one. No, I probably know. Long Days, no. That's Eugene O'Neill.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Godot?
It was not Godot.
It was enough already with Godot. Is he famous? Obviously, I'm not a smart man, so you have to kind of turn over all the cards.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about his stuff, I don't think, now that I'm thinking. Pigman? Did he write Pigman?
He wrote Waiting for Godot, obviously. He wrote Endgame.
Oh.
And he wrote This Play Happy Days.
Wow.
And it starred Diane Wiest.
She's great.
As, and it's very, I was about to say it's very Beckett, but you don't know what that means, so it would be pointless. And I'm not making fun of you, but...
Oh, no, you're not making fun of me. Oh, thank God. That's the only thing that made it not hurtful. Well, because when I do claim to know things, it's only about a couple of people. So I know, like, Eugene O'Neill, 3 plays of his.
Yeah. Long Day's Journey into Night.
Yeah.
Iceman Cometh.
That's true.
And I can't do a third.
Neither can I.
All right.
Last Menagerie? No, that's Tennessee Irving Ford.
No.
Tennessee Ernie Ford was not the person who wrote that.
No.
But do you remember him? He used to come on, ding, 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 on the Andy Griffith.
He held 16 tons, and what did he get?
My life is defined by thinking that my age is the only age that everyone else is experiencing.
Yeah.
And by terrible...
So that's why you should have been at CBGB's?
What's that?
That's why you should have been at CBGB's.
This ain't no mud. The only clubs I know are from that song, because I moved to L.A., and then it was Madame Wong's West...
Yeah.
And then it was something in Hollywood was big.
Yeah.
What was it? The Palladium? No, that wasn't one. The Troubadour.
The Troubadour, the Roxy.
The Roxy.
Yeah.
This can't be a popular podcast the way I'm doing it right now, right?
It's not. Don't worry.
Oh, even when I give it my best shot?
Yeah.
So what did you think of the play?
I thought she was the play is basically almost a 2-hour monologue for Diane Wiest, or who's ever playing that character, which is a woman who's buried up to her waist in a mound of dirt in the first act.
Oh my God. Is that all mimed, obviously?
No, there was a very literal mound of sand, like, on stage that she was up to her waist in. I mean, obviously they don't bury her each night. She steps in somehow, but...
Don't you feel that would be uncomfortable as an actor?
Yeah.
I'm not as a good actor, but even as a poor actor, I feel that's hard.
No, it's a terribly hard role. And there's one other man, there's a man on stage, but he has really sporadic lines, and, sort of part of the point is that she can't quite see him.
Oh, man.
But it's, so it's like this... It's what I was going to say is it's very Beckett in that it takes place in this sort of imaginary world that's real to the characters, but they are humans in this situation. So it's in large part of sort of a play about optimism, But
pro or negative?
Hard to say, honestly. because in this case, it's sort of stupid optimism, you know. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, you come back for Act 2 and she's now buried up to her neck. So it's, you know, but it's interesting in that you can lay a lot of metaphors on it as a viewer. And I think that's true of most Beckett stuff you're never going to know what is this about.
For some reason, I must have missed the Beckett class. But where is he? Is he Irish or where's he from?
Yes, he's Irish.
And was he a drinker or not necessarily a drinker?
He's Irish playwright, so I'm going to go yes. I don't know, but I'm going to go yes. And you know, he lived until probably, I think, like the late 80s almost, maybe, or even into the 90s. But most of his work was like his big works were in the 50s, I think, and 60s.
I like going to the theater when I go. I mean, I really do like it a lot. I mean, you don't always, if a show, I haven't been to the theater that much in my life, but when it's great, it's unbelievable. And then when
it's bad, it's fucking brutal, though.
Yeah, it is
That's the problem.
because you can't get away from it.
Yeah. And I've been to way more brutal plays than good ones, despite this being one of the meccas of actors.
Yeah.
But it's never about the actors, you know. You can find lots of great actors who are willing and game to do a really shitty play, you know.
That's true.
So, but this wasn't a shitty play, and it was a brilliant performance. It was interesting that it wasn't full, and then probably 20% of people left at the act, at the intermission.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, it's a tough watch, you know.
Yeah.
But
I would think,
I also think it was probably like, oh, Diane Wiest is what they got the ticket for, and then they went, oh, it's this.
Yeah. Well, I have also thought that when I watch theater, like when I watched something on the West End once, and it was really great, and it was in a small theater, it really did remind me a lot of stand-up in a way.
Yeah. Well, this play in particular had lots of sort of weird stand-up overtones because it was a single person delivering a monologue planted in one spot. You know, so I couldn't help but apply that lens to it too. And, you know, and it is funny. The play is funny in many ways, you know, so that's, you know, so you go, okay, if I'm an actor in this spot, it's like, how much am I relying on laughs? How much do I care? If I have this 2-hour monologue essentially to deliver, do I care how the jokes are landing?
Right.
know?
Well, I've found the limited degree that I've done anything here comes Blow Hardy walking down the street with his college theater play. No, but I really did notice that it's exactly like stand-up in the sense of, you're performing for the crowd in one sense. You know what I mean? Like, you're motivated by how the laugh is going. It's not patterned. It is a relationship with the crowd. On some level. That's what I think is exciting about the theater. But I think what happened was once the movies came along, I mean, that must have been, I don't know quite what I'm saying, but when I've been to good plays, I feel like this is unlike a movie and it's unlike any other experience in a way.
I agree. Yeah, it is. It's a much different energy being exchanged, and, you know, there is a sort of, I don't know, a silent agreement between audience and performers in a play that we're all going to just buy into this, you know,
right.
That isn't necessary in a movie.
Yeah.
Because there's always that energy of these are real people trying to do a hard thing, you know?
Yeah, or that it's also an unusual agreement that you make. It is now more unusual, I guess, throughout history. Well, I don't know who went to see plays.
Well, I mean,
rich people.
No, I mean, like,
everybody.
I mean, Shakespeare's Globe was a pretty proletariat place.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about that.
Theater was it because, you know, for most of history, people were illiterate.
Yeah.
Know? So, I mean, that was, you know, going back to Greek dramas, you know, and before that, that's how people were entertained by others for the most part, you know. Not always plays, but something performed or spoken, you know. And it's not dead. I mean, this play had a big run in New York before it came here, but
no, it's always in a way. It's weird to live in the generation that you live through because just in our generation, it's not the major art form, but it could always be. It's not like the most popular art form, but it's always a viable thing.
Right.
It can be viable, but
it's not. It is not as big. It's not as big an art form as it was, say, in the 50s. There isn't there isn't Arthur Miller-like figures necessarily writing plays where that
there's
popular culture embraces them for, ooh, they wrote another play.
Well, that was true with Tom Stoppard, and I don't know enough about
to some extent. Tom Stoppard and Neil Simon certainly had his run, and there's people.
Sam Shepard, when I was in college, we did Sam Shepard, and he was really
right.
Those were very popular.
But and there probably is a generation of playwrights right now that if you're in the drama scene, you know who they are, but they don't pop into popular culture the way they once did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you sound sad about it.
I don't know. You're wistful for a time that you never experienced.
I don't even know what I don't know what I'm missing. I know. It's like I don't miss vaudeville. I like being a part of a tradition, but I don't. Like, I wish I had seen Lenny Bruce, and I wish for a long time I really kind of did buy into that there was a golden age of something.
Yeah.
And to some degree,
some things there were,
Well, that movie, when we get to it, which I'm not trying to push it, that to me was like a golden age of, that was just a miracle movie in a way to me.
Yeah.
With how great the dialogue was.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm saying. But when was the first talking movie?
Like 29?
Right.
So the fact that this movie
34.
was only 5 years later, yeah.
Yeah, and more word comfortable than, more word looseness and playing with words as if they've been doing it forever in a way.
Yeah.
It didn't sound great all the time, but.
Well, there was theater there was that kind of snappy theater dialogue.
That's true. That's true.
And the performances were fairly theaterish at the time still, too. It was still, I guess we're talking about the movie now. Why don't we do that?
Okay, let's talk
we
about
watched
the movie.
It Happened One Night with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, directed by Frank Capra, 1934. Biggest movie of 1934 in terms of awards. It was one of 3 movies to win all 5 of the major awards, but I don't know what the competition in 1934 was.
Did they start in silent films, the Academy Awards?
Yeah, I think Wings was a silent film.
Wings?
Yes, which was the first Academy Award. Best Picture, I think.
I hope Birth of a Nation didn't sweep. And the racists win again.
No, that they preceded the Academy Awards.
Oh, thank God.
So, the thing that you come away with the most from this movie is romantic comedies haven't changed in 85 years. It really absolutely is the prototype for all romantic comedies that comes after it. From the meet cute to the boy meets girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl. It has all that structure. It has, aside from the best friend characters, giving them bad advice on the side. It had everything that a modern.
Wait, it didn't have the best friend characters?
No, not really. But it was a road movie too.
I realized I haven't seen. How many great movies would you say Clark Gable's been in? I don't know how many I've seen. Gone with the Wind. This one. I really do feel like. I'm not like a.
And they're completely different performances.
Well, yeah.
Between Gone with the Wind and this one.
This one, I was like.
This one could have been a Jimmy Stewart role.
True. That's true.
It had a lot of that feel, and part of that's Capra, but, it was interesting. I didn't love Clark Gable. I didn't love either of them just because it was still that early movie performance. But I thought they were great within that context. You know what I mean?
I thought they were.
They had chemistry in their way,
and they were playing. I thought they were playing with the form in a way. Not like playing with the form, but that comfortableness. Not so much to the degree of Harvey Korman and Tim Conway, but there was a little bit of.
Well, that's a Capra thing, is to always show silliness with his characters. Okay. There's always you get those moments, and and there's, which I like about his movies, is that there's.
Did he direct It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah,
he did.
Why, yes, he did.
Well, how about the scene where the younger man, where the mean guy confronts the older guy. That's also
The mean
I can't
guy
remember
before?
the words from the scene. You said you told me you. It still cheers me up at night.
Yeah.
I was immediately captivated by the movie.
But what's interesting, I mean, what's cool about Capra to me is that that he came from silent movies. You know, he made the transition. And this, and in many ways, this feels like a silent movie. In the way it's like the vignettes, you know, it's like every scene fades to black pretty much because they just apparently hadn't figured out how to edit through.
I didn't think about that, yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of put the camera in one place and let people perform for the camera kind of shooting of scenes.
You know, I was thinking about when I watched, I mean, I'm not the same person I was obviously when I was a kid, but I would watch like sexy scenes from movies. Like the one I remember, sexy scene, like an idiot, from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where he comes in and he pretends like he's going to arrest her, or he's
right.
And so, like, there's movies I've seen from my generation where I've been more attracted to the romance. Like I wasn't like turned on by seeing those guys. I mean, they had chemistry, but it wasn't like a sizzling.
It wasn't sizzling, and you know, it was. I think it was like it was one of the last movies before the Hays Code kicked in, too. So
that's what I was fascinated
It was more
about.
suggestive than most movies of that era.
And was it movies like that? I mean, to me, it's like, why would they? I know why they had the code, but the fact that it was risque in terms of the time. Some of the things they were, because I kept thinking about that.
Right.
But I wasn't like, I watched that and I went, oh man, I hope they clean that up.
Right. Well, no, I mean, it was still 1934, you know, so the ceiling for indecency was much lower. But I thought, it was a fairly sophisticated movie. And there was some great characters. The father ended up being a great character.
Yeah, I thought he was
very
great.
Capra-esque kind of character again. And fun guest stars. Alan Hale was good.
Oh, which one was Alan Hale now?
Alan Hale this is Alan Hale Sr.
Uh-oh.
Not the skipper's dad.
I don't even know what he looks like. I think I've seen him in a couple of movies.
He was the guy who picked them up as hitchhikers and tried to steal the singing driver guy.
Oh, he tried to steal. You think he was chewing a little scenery?
No, he tried to steal the suitcase, not the scene.
Right, but here's the other thing. I was listening to one of my, I don't know if you know that I listen to some true crime podcasts. So I was listening to this true crime podcast that took place in Australia in this place called the Bangalow Mountains or whatever. And it single-handedly ended hitchhiking in Australia and then when you think about it, I hitchhiked in college a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I had to say I went to college. Is that what I was doing?
Is that what you're doing?
I don't know what I was doing. But I remember it not being, I remember the time period, you don't, but I remember the time period where people did hitchhike. And there was like a brief window where it seemed like it was okay for a year or two.
Yeah, like into the 70s really, until really I think until the sort of modern serial killer era.
Right. And that was what the serial killer was like. People were going to Australia to experience the outback, and it was a very popular thing. And they were saying, and you definitely could save money by hitching. Well, this guy was a serial killer, and he killed like 7 or 8. So while he's doing that very cute hitchhiking scene,
right?
it's just amazing to me that there would be a time period where people would be like, life couldn't have been less dangerous then, but I guess it was. In that sense, maybe, but
well, I don't think that was they weren't playing that danger really. I mean, the danger was that the guy stole their shit. You know?
Yes,
but I don't think getting murdered was part of the equation in hitchhiking. If in a 1934 movie you aren't worried,
no, you wouldn't deal with. But I'm just saying, like I'm thinking society, it was probably
well, it was a depression too.
Oh yeah, right. So nobody had a car, and everybody was trying to help everybody else.
Well, and they had that scene at the motor court, as they called it, or whatever they call it, the motor camp, as opposed to a motel.
Right, yeah.
Where it seemed like people were definitely depression people camped out there on their way somewhere.
All I could think about, like you couldn't even figure out some of the things that happened. Like they stayed in a motel, and when they had to stay, that it just was like it felt like a play. The whole thing felt like a play, but I for some reason was it was very pleasing. You know, I wasn't like watching it and thinking it was quaint.
No, exactly. I mean, I think that's the impressive part of it, is that it holds up. You know, it's modern enough in its attitudes towards everything that you aren't just constantly rolling your eyes at how cute it is.
And it was good to see somebody that people I should have seen in more things. But I think I've seen Claudette Colbert. I know I've seen her in other things, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't have my Claudette Colbert knowledge doesn't go very deep.
I loved all the stuff about. There was a lot of newspaper lingo or get the story and.
Yeah.
But some of it sounded dicey to me, like really old.
Yeah,
Like the telegram lady. Well, I remember something about that was like, take the orders.
Well, because she made a comment about what she was saying, she was telegraphing.
And I'm watching that scene, and I was like,
you get hung up on the weirdest shit.
I know.
You always do.
No, I think what you should say is, I was fascinated with the most boring things. It's like it's not even, it's a trait that my family has. Like, it's not so much, it's weird. Like my sister once said, who takes all the coconuts out of the palm trees in California so that they don't fall on people's heads?
Yeah.
Like, is there someone who, well, then we realize that they don't produce.
Right. They aren't actually coconut trees.
Yeah, coconut trees. Right. But that was something, when she said it, she asked me, I was like, yeah, that's a good question. Right. So I got fascinated by the sending of a telegram scene.
Right.
Like, I was like, is that how you did it? You stood at a thing?
Yeah.
And then it's like magic.
And it was like $2.75 to send the telegram. That's pretty pricey back in 1934 dollars.
I can't even believe that, I don't even know how the wireless, that's when things really took off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. Not so much every show, but I'm sorry about everything in many ways. That was the other thing I liked about that movie was it wasn't a really super long.
Right. The under 2 hour thing is nice.
Yeah. And, I think that I still want to see a Nazi classic or something. Do you have any other new ideas?
Well, I mean, I think I was thinking of just going down most of the
the AFI list,
the AFI comedy list. I mean, the thing that I think our big hole are movies like this, 1930s comedies with Capra, Cukor, Howard Hawks, those people.
No, I'm going to ask you another one now. George Cukor, he was like a German guy, right?
I'm not sure, but he was a comedy guy. He directed a lot of comedies. So I was looking at the list. The next thing, It Happened One Night was number 8 on the all-time comedy list.
Comedy list or the all-time great list?
On the all-time comedy list.
Oh, interesting.
We've seen all the next several, except for, I bet, number 14. I'll go through. I've seen all these. Graduate, Airplane, Producers, Night at the Opera, Young Frankenstein. And then at number 14 is Bringing Up Baby, which is a Howard Hawks movie.
And you have seen it?
I've not seen it.
I think we should go with Bringing Up Baby.
Right, let's get our 1930s comedies on.
Now, I wish we could do Face in the Crowd, but I've seen that, and you've probably seen it too many times, right?
Not too many times, but I have seen it.
Bringing Up Baby, that sounds like a Betsy, like it's going to be what a dump. Betty White? That can't be right.
Katharine Hepburn.
Betsy Davis.
Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant.
Is there a Betsy Davis?
There probably is a Betsy Davis, but there's not a really famous one.
But what am I saying?
Betty Davis?
I'm not high, Josh. If you take nothing away from this evening, please remember one thing. I'm not high, but I was high earlier, so what's the excuse? When am I going to do the big thing that everybody wants me to do, which would be to get your head out of your ass, Andy? Okay, tell me. Okay, so that's the movie we're going to see.
Bringing Up Baby.
Bringing Up Baby. That's not a Judy Holliday thing, is it?
1938.
All right.
No, I just said it's Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant.
Shut up. You shut up. It's Katharine Hepburn and Tracy?
And Cary Grant.
Shut up. What do you mean, Cary Grant? Didn't we see him in something?
I don't think we did.
No, but didn't we both watch the thing about him hallucinating? Taking LSD?
Yes.
It drove you nuts. Because there were a lot of scenes like, "Ooh, bringing up baby."
I'm sorry, there were scenes a lot like,
No, where he's like,
couldn't let that go.
You had brought up a comment about how they were doing the hallucinogenic stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly how they did it.
They went,
Who's that guy? Well. Come on, who's that guy? Hey. Ooh.
I think you're doing Floyd the Barber.
No, he's an older movie guy. Well. Oh, that is Floyd. I go into Floyd from him.
Yes. Were you thinking of,
Yes.
I'll help you? That's Frank Nelson.
Well, why do you know him? What was he? Was he always in Laurel and Hardy movies? Or
like I Love Lucy all the time.
My favorite thing is I whip you up for no reason, and then I love when you get annoyed.
Yeah.
It's just like, yes, everything like that. Is he the guy who yelled like, whoa? It's sad that Tim Conway died.
That was very sad.
Yeah. Because I know his son a little bit. Because he has a show on KFI.
Yeah, I know him a little bit too.
Yeah, and his son's very sweet. I don't
know about this.
Well, I know he's not really. I can't believe that. He's a little curmudgeonly, right?
Yeah, he is, and right wingy.
I know he's that way, but he's. I don't know how he got.
Mark Thompson, who I do the Edge with, is on his show once a week.
Yeah,
and sometimes more. And he guest hosted for Tim the night that Tim Senior died.
Wow. Well, I used to go on that show when it was Conway and Steckler.
Yeah.
And Steckler is very funny. He was like a writer on National Lampoon or something like that.
Yeah.
But Tim Conway, I don't think there was anybody funnier than him. And yet I never saw I didn't see the golf things, but just him on...
Well, the golf things were dumb, but they were, he could still make you laugh.
That's true.
But they were annoyingly dumb, but I had no grudge with Tim Conway trying to make money at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Conway is the first guy I remember my whole family giving it up for. Like, I remember my dad just laughing hysterically at the old man and Mr. Tudball on the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah.
And I just, it like literally is a very strong memory of that's the first comedy I remember my family consuming and all loving, Yeah,
I was been thinking about that myself because... How do you feel about it? Did you love Carol Burnett?
Loved it, yeah.
Wow, because I loved it, but then I didn't like the Mama's Family. But I can't separate. You know what it is?
Yeah.
I think that maybe, I don't know,
The Mama's Family sketches were great. I mean, the Mama's Family sitcom was a whole different...
Right. I think I did, I've always loved her, and she's always very funny, but I can't remember, I don't know how much I watched of it.
Yeah, I watched a lot. It was a big... I remember watching it Saturday nights when my parents went out, out. And I remember watching it with my parents.
Okay, so I don't even know. So it was in the 70s then, right?
Yeah, it started in the 60s, but it ran well into the 70s.
She's also an excellent actor.
Carol Burnett.
She was in a movie called Friendly Fire.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm saying these things.
Did she play a grieving mother?
I think so. Why is it so important for me?
Is this a television movie?
No, it's so important for me for a comedian when they have a real role, like a serious role.
Yeah.
And so it's my therapist says that the phase I'm going through now, hopefully is a phase because if it isn't, she's tired of it.
It has to be a phase, is what she said.
I said to her, look.
I insist this is a phase.
I say to her, I'm at my podcast. It's just not just the podcast, but it's everywhere where this little guy who is sitting off to my side. I wish he was sitting here so I could yell at him,
right.
But he's not.
Right.
I assume it's a he, but he's constantly going, are you listening well enough? What are you listening? Ask him something now. Ask Josh something now.
Something other than a trivia fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, sadly... That voice does not discern that well.
Right.
That's the problem. If he was a clever guy who said, hello, Andy, why don't you ask him something about his hobbies? So hopefully I'll grow out of it.
I think you will.
Or into it.
They say most people do most of their growing in their mid-60s.
I'm not a plaything for your. I'm not. What is it? I'm not the butt of your. Am I the Lou Costello? Who am I in this group? I'm not funny enough to be like the Lou Costello guy.
All right. Right.
I'm not Laurel.
No.
Right.
You're blowhardy.
I think I have to own it, is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Is own it. Josh, I'd like to ask you, officially, before we go one step further, I'd like to ask you, officially, I think you'd do it on the show.
Okay.
Would you please do me the honor of writing the speech with me? And when I say writing the speech, I mean you are writing it this year for the State of the Industry 2019. Is this something I've asked before?
Not formally.
I'm asking it formally. I think I asked it when Alex was here.
Yeah.
But not really well.
Again, you didn't go formal with it.
No, but I would like to. I don't know if you want me to get down on a knee.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you want me to participate on such a formal level,
yes,
we need to talk money because you're getting paid for the speech. Because I don't need just a project right now for no money.
I never even. This has never been breached before.
I mean, I did it 2 years for free.
Well, now I feel embarrassed.
You don't need to feel embarrassed, but I'm trying to be honest with you. That if I did it a third year and just took on this big project that I get nothing out of and, then, I mean, I get some fun writing jokes.
Right.
But just writing it for you, for Andy Kindler's state, and even, I don't really want credit because trashing people isn't my thing.
Right.
So, and the credit doesn't help, that's not what I'm doing it for. I was doing it to help you. So I'm happy to do it, but we could have a conversation perhaps off radio about what you're making for the speech and if I could get some reasonable percentage of that.
Here's the thing. It's a set thing I make.
Right.
I make $75 for the festival. I don't know. Okay. And the thing is, I say to Bruce.
Then I want 70.
I say to Bruce, what is going on over there? I can't. All right, this is I
don't mean to make it an uncomfortable conversation, but I want it to be comfortable doing it. So that's kind of how I feel. It's like, of course, I'll give you jokes either way, but if you want me to really like help you write the speech,
right? Then
I feel like I'd like some percentage of the speech fee.
I think that's fair.
Okay, you can decide if you want to do that, but
no, I think I should do it.
Okay.
But the thing is, I'm a Jew. I am a Jew.
I understand. So am I. That's why I'm bringing it up.
No, all of a sudden.
But I'm like in a mode where I like need to start writing some stuff for myself. So if there's that will just be a distraction. If it's not, if there's no,
right,
business attached to it, then I feel like I should be doing something else. But if it's, if it's a gig, then I'll approach it differently.
I like it.
So
well,
that's as frank as I can be.
Well, but now here's the thing. The thing is that I don't know why.
I don't resent it for the previous years.
That's the
Take
thing.
that off the table.
I know that
I volunteered the previous years, essentially.
Right. So why there's a part of me, and I believe you 100%, but there's a part of me that has to receive any information like I feel I've done something wrong because I didn't credit you last year.
Right.
So I feel like you're like a cheap Jew or something.
Well, this is how I won't feel taken for granted.
Right. But why can't I just take it, which I'm getting better at?
Yeah.
Because actually I am better at it because maybe a couple of years ago I would have started crying and offering you money for the previous years.
Yeah.
So, I think that I'm very adult and, I think that I don't need any more therapy now because I'm all
right. We're good.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna now we will work out the price. I still am gonna treat for all of the everything we do. Like anything you want to order over at
the
our diner.
Anything from the left side of the page is on me.
They used to have that.
Yeah.
We've all dealt with that. Have we all dealt with that where we play a club and they only let you order off of one side of the menu? I
recall that.
What kind of a world is that?
That's a world where comics abuse.
That is because
steaks.
When I used to work at the William Randolph Discovery Inn and they changed it soon after
they changed the name of the dish to the Andy Thermidor. He ordered it so many times.
Here's the thing. I think I've taken everything. I'm not proud of this, but I think I've taken everything personally forever. So much so that and I find out in therapy, most of my thinking about what other people thinking is wrong.
Right.
So
I'm the other way now.
What's that?
I assume no one is thinking about me at all times, and I'm sort of surprised when they are.
I would question both of our strategies.
I would too. I'm not saying mine's the solution by any means.
Like one time you said to me, I said I was nervous because there was somebody on the plane that I was meeting, and you said, "Why don't you act like you've been there before?" Or something like that.
Someone on the plane you were meeting?
It was some celebrity was on the plane. I said, "There's a celebrity on the plane, but I'm not going to tell you who it is, and I'm going to try and act cool." And then you said, "Why don't you act like you've been there before?" So I took it like you were saying, well, "How dare you bring up a celebrity?" But that wasn't what you were saying. You were saying like, "Why don't you act more like it's not the most amazing?"
Right, you're in show business,
Mr. Pat Boone. Right. I did meet Pat Boone.
Hey, I met Chong.
Wait, Cheech and Chong?
Yes.
How do you get from Pat Boone to Chong?
I don't know. He was sitting in front of me on a plane. That was what it was all. That was the connection.
I am very sad that I never was on a plane with Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Because the story I heard and I hope it's true, that he was in, I forgot who he was in the first class, and it could be an apocryphal story, but he notices, he meets Jerry Lewis, Mr. Lewis, great to meet you, and they're both celebrities or whatever. He sits back down and he starts to look behind him. He notices out of the corner of his vision, he could see Jerry staring at him from the row, and it's like going on for about 10 minutes. And then when he finally turns, and Jerry goes, "Ah!"
Like that was his setup, the 2-hour setup for I gotta be ready.
And I have to admit that I could absolutely see myself doing the same bit. I've done similar bits.
Sure.
I'm going to wait till Brian Posehn turns around. I'm going to be naked until, I don't care how long it takes. Wow, this has been an amazing show so far. Amazing show. I've gotten over. I mean, okay. So now that we've decided, what is it? We've already decided that I'm a prostitute. Now we're just thinking about the price. What's that from? Is that from a thing? We already know what your profession is. You know what else I hate? That's above my pay grade. That's above my. Why does what you fucking know have to be related to how much you're getting paid? Can't you just tell me? Because you either know it or you don't know it. Oh, the Big Bang Theories, that's above my pay grade.
Has anyone ever used it in that context?
Don't listen to me. I'm trying to get a bit going. So the other thing is, and I think you'll be very happy with my offer, which so far, because I'm already, the Jew bells are going off. Okay. Or it's like, it's going to be more than nothing. I'm going to say that right now. I think that we should set up one. You got to have one meeting where you don't know why I've called the meeting.
Okay.
So maybe next week, or we don't put the cart before the horse in this business. Why do I keep going with the horses and the carts?
I'm not sure.
No, but like in the next week or so, I want you to have the whole speech on my desk.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. So are we ready now? Here's the thing: are we ready for a break? You think, or
I think so. What's the name of the? We'll figure out.
Okay,
we'll figure out the tech during the break. But why don't you set up which song you want to play?
This has been so exciting for me and nerve wracking for me.
And we'll come back if it doesn't work.
Yeah, and we'll come back and do what?
And set up the break again.
Oh yeah, it's a song called "In the USA," and it was a song I'd written when I first came to California. So like 79 or 80, and the thing I have to do is I have to call my friend Scott Carter, not Scott Carter from Bill Maher's show, but my friend who I was in a group with, and I think that we co-wrote the music. I think I had a song going in, and then I wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
But it's me and him. I think it's me and Scott Carter having written this song.
Okay.
And you're gonna hear a little bit of, it's a little funky.
Yeah. I love the funk. I love it when Kindler brings the funk.
And we'll be back.
Let's take a listen.
I hope you have the technical knowledge.
I hope this works.
Okay.
they sing together. See the children play, 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 play. They play together. See the strong man work. See the strong man play. They would like to live, like to live. They'd like to live forever. In the U.S., in the USA, in the U.S., in the USA. You can't speak if you don't shout, don't you shout, don't you shout, don't you shout, don't you shout together. You can't walk if you don't walk, don't you walk, don't you walk, don't you walk, don't you walk together. You can't speak if you don't shout. This is how we work it out. We always work it out, work it out, work it out. We work it out together. In the U.S., in the USA, in the U.S., in the USA. Everybody wants to come because we're having so much fun. Everybody, everybody, everybody wants to live, wants to live, wants to live. They want to live forever. In the U.S., in the USA, in the U.S., in the USA, in the U.S., in the USA, in the U.S., in the USA.
That's In the U.S., In the USA by Andy Kindler and the Fusion Funk Pioneers.
Well, that was. I wonder if that was that Transfusion, or was that the visit? I hope it wasn't the Visitors. This was pre-Transfusion.
That was fantastic, Andy.
Oh,
and I don't mean that. I know I have an ironic tone whenever I say shit. That's positive to you, but I thought that was great.
Thank you so much.
And there was more. There was way more to your voice than I thought there would be in terms of just power behind it.
Well, that makes me feel very good, and I also was able to listen back and realize I could hear the hesitancy in my voice, but I don't listen back and go, that's horrible. I was very happy when I listened back to it because it has been about 15 years since I listened to any of it.
It was. I thought it was a fully committed vocal, and I don't think there was any reason to have any, shame, I guess is the word. I don't mean, I don't mean to sound.
Now, I know what you're saying exactly. I know what you're saying exactly, and that's why I was always.
But I had heard, when I had heard you sing before, it was acoustic. Like when you did Stink to Soleil with your sister and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that was a much more folky voice.
So.
I
I still don't think I have my voice. I think I'm on my way to my voice. But that sounds stupid because it is. But you know what it is? It's getting out of you. It's the same thing as getting the guy in your head out of the way.
Yeah.
It's like getting him out of the way. It's like, I don't think when I'm telling a joke that I am delivering diaphragmatically the joke.
Right.
And so it's probably more natural. So it's just a matter of time and stuff. But I don't know. It was really fun. It was exciting.
And that was you on rhythm guitar and lead vocal.
Right. And I wrote the lyrics. And I think I wrote the original melody. And I'm pretty sure Scott came in with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He is like a genius. He was like a genius. He may have, I can't remember if this is when his brother Craig was playing the bass and Scott may have been playing the drums.
Yeah.
And it was all done at Long Beach City College.
Sounded good.
Yay! Oh, how is the quality from here to here? You didn't lose anything really, right?
Well, I don't know, but
Very
it sounded
good.
fine.
Yay! Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
So that's a major milestone.
I
People.
know.
Andy has finally brought music.
And after, I don't want you to think that you're hardball tactics.
I don't care what worked.
You have like a kind of a.
I have to say, I still don't think you would have done well at CBGB's.
Yeah, because it was still.
Because it was fusion.
Yeah. You know, when I listen back, and I think when you, it's ridiculous to ever talk about yourself at all in the third person. But when I think back, I do feel like I was influenced by a lot of things, like Sly and the Family Stone, and so there's a lot of things I'm influenced by, and I really loved that kind of like funk, soul kind of sound, and rhythm and blues too.
Yeah, it had a nice pocket all the way through. The only thing I would have done was added some more vocals.
Yeah,
some
because it
more
was just
harmonies
doubles.
to the
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, what else you got out there? You know what? I have a little bit of a skip in my step now. Yeah, yeah. Why am I gloating now though?
I'm not sure, but
Is that my memory card? No, it's yours.
that's mine.
You didn't take the memory card that you're currently using.
No, I took the mini memory card that we recorded our first two shows on. So that was good. I'm heading into my last hour of being 47 years old.
What the? Wait, your birthday is tomorrow?
It is indeed.
Happy birthday! What are you gonna do?
I'm not sure.
I can't
I
believe
don't
it.
have a big plan.
Well, your anniversary is.
It's in July.
Oh, you guys took a picture somewhere, and I thought it was like for an event, but you were somewhere.
I think that was us having. I think that was us at the Mark Taper the other night.
Oh, okay.
That Allison probably posted on Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's a whole thing going on there on Facebook.
Yeah,
I know.
Allison's very into it. I'm not a participant. Do you want to go to some questions?
Let's do it. Let's
Speaking
do it.
Of our internet friends.
I saw things, and I thought, is that for the thing or is that for the thing?
I saw things. What things? What things?
You talking
What?
to me?
I saw things. What?
Is that Pesci?
It was Pesci and De Niro. Yeah.
What? Are you saying that I'm a thing?
I heard things. What things? What? I heard things.
Do I amuse you?
No, this is Raging Bull.
I know, but can't we do... What did he hear in that one? That was a good movie.
About his wife.
Kathy Moriarty, who also I think is the person behind Frankie and Johnny's Pizza Place.
No, Mulberry Street.
God damn it. What's Frankie and Johnny's then? That's some horrible... Okay.
Enlightened Misanthrope says, Andy, I think you should push for the judgment at Nuremberg. It's Nazis, Andy. Actual Nazis. Have you guys ever worked with anyone other than Doug Benson who found you to be less than courteous and who you found to be less than courteous and didn't get along with? The Doug part is my opinion for his fans.
Wait a second now. He's saying I didn't get along. Well, it looked like we both didn't get along with him, or he wasn't. What is he saying?
Well, he was less than courteous. I think you could say.
Is that? Yeah, but he's always that way.
Yeah,
Doug. That's his elk.
Well, that's your answer to everything.
Oh, is my answer always that's the way it is?
Yes.
Well, how does that help?
Doesn't help.
If I met Hitler and you said, "What'd you think of him?" That's him. That's Hitler.
Just, he's got a thing.
Don't bring up the Jews,
Right.
and you'll be fine. I think that I always felt that Doug and I were competitive with each other because we started out together.
Right.
But the people who I was started out with, we try to avoid that kind of a thing. But I guess you can't avoid it.
Well, I think the rudeness was more towards me than you on that show.
Oh,
So
what are
he's
we
saying
both doing there?
No. The question is, are there other people that you found less than courteous and didn't get along well with that you've worked with?
Oh, I think there's probably been many people. I haven't worked with anybody who's so. I haven't worked with a lot of people who are like. I haven't worked with Dennis Miller. I haven't worked with a lot of people who have like scary reputations.
Yeah.
But I did work with Dennis Miller, and that was scary. Yeah, he was. You could tell he was rude.
I thought you said I didn't work with Dennis Miller.
No, I got kicked off the show.
You got kicked off of
the bit he was going to do when he had his HBO show.
Yeah.
I was going to come on and do a bit, and it didn't work out.
Ah.
And he didn't seem but he wasn't not nice. He was more like, the Kindlerator. How's it going there, choo-cha-cha-cha?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets much deeper than that with him.
No.
You know.
Louis Black is very nice.
I've had good conversations with Dennis Miller when I met him a couple times too, but that doesn't.
I know that he can't be a monster.
I don't think he's a monster. I just think he's a disappointment.
To his brothers who can't talk politics with him.
But yeah, no, there's definitely people that I've worked with that weren't fun. I don't want to name a lot of names, really.
No.
I've talked about, I think, my run-in with William Shatner when he was on when he was on Kinnear. Eddie Griffin was tough. He was tough to work with, although I thought he was funny at least.
Was it Malcolm and Eddie?
Yeah.
And how was Malcolm?
Malcolm was tough too, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But it was a tough show. In general, that was a tough show.
When you're in a show and you're supporting, like it's someone else's, it's their show. Like I was on Louis Black's show. It really many times depends on how much pressure they're under, because I think people react to pressure differently.
Yeah, well, in the first year of a sitcom, it's a struggle for whose show it is,
Yes.
And the old adage is that the first year it's the writer's show, and after that it's the actor's show,
That never happened with Raymond. Phil called the shots. Well, he didn't call the shots for Ray.
Right.
But he did call them for everybody else.
Yeah, but I bet if Doris or Peter had a problem with something,
oh yeah,
things got fixed very quickly.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty cooperative set.
Yeah, well, and I think that was part of the reputation of that show too. And a lot of shows are, but there's a lot of contentious shows too. Like on Malcolm and Eddie, we had a showrunner that came in initially who hated actors, and he hated networks, and he had come from Married with Children, where they didn't get network notes because that was part of the initial deal of the show. So he had just built-in contempt. He thought every network note was stupid, which most of them are, but not all of them. And every actor note was stupid. So it was just like this contemptuous thing before he ended up leaving a few weeks into the show.
And then everybody has a different system.
Yeah.
It's like Judd Apatow lets people riff. David Chase, you can't say one word. You can't change one word.
Right. Sorkin, you can't change words.
Sorkin.
But it's, and that just, if you're an actor, you either respect that or not. You do the work either way, but.
Except I had that thing, that show, I don't know if I told that story, where they wanted on that Raising Dad show that Jonathan Katz had written, they wanted me to wear a surgical frozen donut on my ass. Mm-hmm. And I refused I just didn't want to do that bit.
Yeah.
And it was like, at one point, they were going to try and make me do that bit.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not doing that bit. Because my argument was, you can be a writer. It's not your ass that's on television.
Right.
Sticking out. And what do you think? What if I come to you and said, well, you wouldn't have written that way. It was kind of written for kids, maybe more. But I'm sitting on a donut because I have hemorrhoids. That's the bit.
Right.
And I sit down. And it sticks to my ass.
Yeah.
Do you think I was unreasonable that I didn't want to do it?
I think you were unreasonable refusing to do it. You're not unreasonable not wanting to do it. I think you're I think at a certain point as an actor, you got to go, that's what the director or whoever's in charge is telling me to do.
See, we came up to the opposite conclusion. Well, first of all, it wasn't so much like you're going to, it was more like you're going to do it.
Right.
So it went from, I don't feel comfortable at all doing this to, well, you're going to do it.
Right. And
then I just said I wasn't going to do it. So maybe that's why I lost the gig. No, I didn't lose the gig, but it's an interesting thing because I felt like you always have the right to, you know, like it's like if a woman, all of a sudden there's a sex scene, or all of a sudden, I mean, you have certain rights, I think, as an actor.
I think you do, but ultimately, you're an actor, and it's your gig to play the part. If that's the part, you got to, you know.
So if they say we're gonna, well, you know,
I mean, I don't think that was a moral.
No, I just thought I look stupid.
Right, and that to me, if you're an actor on a sitcom, you have to be willing to look stupid.
Yeah, but wouldn't take things that like, maybe I not turned down, but I didn't go out for things.
Right.
Like I didn't go out for that commercial where the guy's looking for a bathroom because he has diarrhea. So
Right.
I'm not going to be on the set where they say, look like you have diarrhea more. So I wouldn't be in that situation, but I think that the actor always has the right to say no. And that's the big fight. I guess they could have fired me.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a very hard thing to do.
You absolutely have the right to say no. The question is, I mean,
I don't know if I do have the right to say. I don't know. I mean, it could have been a thing. I don't know. Maybe they would have.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you do, but I mean, part of exercising that right is one of the consequences is you might lose the job.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
But you absolutely have the right to go no, and you absolutely have the right to choose where your lines are. But you know,
Yeah, that's
where
the-
your lines in the sand. I mean, not
Right,
not your
right.
dialogue. But I also think, as a writer, that you know, at a certain point, you go, I'll do as much as I can to accommodate this actor's wishes. But if I need that joke to be there, you know, for whatever stakes I'm saying need, you know,
Right.
then I'm going to be pissed at the actor who refuses.
Yeah, but
You know?
yeah, you have to put.
Obviously, I don't want to have that fucking argument about a hemorrhoid cushion joke. You know?
Right.
I never want to be backed into that corner. But
Yeah.
I've had plenty of times where I've had passive aggressive standoffs with actors, and you know, you end up wanting to write for them less. You know?
Well, that's the thing, though. I think that is the thing. Is that I mean, the friction between actors and writers is an interesting thing because I consider myself somewhat of a writer, not like a sitcom writer, but I'm someone, you know, I've written a script before,
Right.
type of thing. So what I objected to,
But you've never been a staff writer
no,
who's interacting with a cast
No.
on a regular basis and trying to decide what they can and can't do each week and what you want
unless
them.
it's a show that happened that I didn't. Well, I was for. Well, that was different on this Pet Shop show. There was just me and Ed Krasnick were writing jokes for me.
Right.
And,
But it was for you.
yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's a different thing, and I've been in situations where it's like you get very frustrated as a writer because you know actors can destroy your shit.
Right.
You know, as much as you get excited when they do great with it.
Yes.
You know, and I've talked about that too, the excitement of actors who find things in your writing that you didn't even necessarily know were there. You know,
Yeah.
and that's very exciting, but it's also, you know, very frustrating when you're writing shit that you believe in and you get either a half-hearted,
Right.
you know.
But that
So,
most of the time, what you're talking about is not an example of what I'm talking about in this particular example. It's an actor deciding, not respecting the lines to
Yeah.
begin with.
No, and if it was my show, I would have respected your wishes because I know that even if you went through and did the joke, you weren't going to be committed to it, and you know, we were going to regret doing it one way or the other.
Well, that was the thing. It was a weird thing because I was very friendly with everybody in the show, and I thought it was going to be like, I didn't think they would, and it wasn't even something like, it wasn't something that Jonathan Katz wanted. It was something, because I even told Jonathan Katz I don't want to do it, but he was already back in Boston by that time.
Yeah.
And so
So he had created the show but wasn't running it?
no, because he got MS. He'd already gotten MS. But one of the things about MS is you don't do well under stress.
Right.
So they told him he had to basically go back, you know, like, this was like when he maybe been diagnosed shortly before that.
Right.
So he had to take care of himself and go back to Boston. But I think originally he was supposed to be out here.
Right.
For the whole run of the thing.
Yeah.
Because originally the show I think was even written with his voice, but anyway, it was the thing. The other thing is like I think like it's a collaborative. Sitcoms are collaborative, so I always would feel like sometimes.
Yeah, but you as a writer, sometimes you were there till 3 a.m,
Right.
and you just finally decided, okay, it's the hemorrhoid joke. So you've you
Yeah.
don't know what went into getting to that. You
Right.
know? And it could have been a network note going, we need something bigger and funnier here.
Yeah.
So they finally got to that, and then an actor comes and goes, I'm not doing that shit. And that's not wrong of the actor if it's
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
But it's still going to cause friction with the writers. You know, it's still going to
Yeah.
be like he's being difficult.
I guess I'm talking about something that's I'm not even really not this situation, but other situations where I've struggled, where like I could have gotten more. Like, but sometimes with Phil, it'd be like I wasn't getting it, so I needed some kind of guidance.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he would give me guidance that would make me still have problems sometimes.
Right.
So in those cases, I don't know. But at least he did things that you weren't technically supposed to do. You're not technically supposed to be the showrunner and be directing. But they they
are.
normally do.
Yeah, you are. I mean, the director works for the showrunner.
Right, but does the director not say anything? Because it usually says nothing on Raymond Ray's shows.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was the situation where Phil must have created that dynamic.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But ultimately, you know, there's no win for a director going up against.
We did. Like, one of the directors, I forgot who it was, but he was telling me, like, that Phil was getting, like Phil would get upset if a shot wasn't in during the run through.
Yeah.
Because he wanted it, and they go, the shot's there, Phil. And they say, well, no, he wanted to create in the studio. He's a maniac. You know,
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
he
he's an auteur.
obviously had a control freak streak, but you know,
Yeah,
he
and
also
nothing I
sent his
can say-
writers home at 6:00 each day, which is pretty.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that I can say now that can hurt me. He's not going to use me for future episodes.
Exactly. So, but you know, every sitcom is different. You know, every sitcom has a different chemistry and a different vibe, and you know, every show does. And you know, and it starts. I mean, that tone is set by the showrunner.
Yes.
You know, what kind of show it is. And then, you know, and that sets the tone in the room, but the way the showrunner feels towards actors sets the tone in the room too. You know,
Right, that's
if
the
the
thing.
showrunner is hostile towards actors,
Yeah.
then that's going to be an adversarial relationship. You know, I don't get the sense that Phil was hostile with the actors. I think he loved the actors.
No, he did. He was,
and he probably wanted to spend more time with them than the writers. You know,
right.
you know, so.
Well, a lot of the writers were stand-ups too on that particular show.
But, you know, being a TV director is a fairly neutered position
Yeah,
to
it doesn't
begin
sound
with
like fun.
because you only get one cut of the show and then you leave, you know. You shoot your shoot, you do one cut, and then you're on to the next show, and then it's up to the showrunner to do the real cut of the show.
So a good director can solve blocking problem type things?
Yeah. You know, a good director can stage the action and stage jokes so that they play well. you
Yes.
know.
And I think you're referring specifically to the great, who's that one guy who would always annoy me?
Jim Burrows?
Yes. I've told that story because it's a million times where he came in and he goes, let's wrap this up quick because I want to watch the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad that everything's worked out for you. I used to be I think I used to be so much angrier than I would, or just nervous.
Probably nervous.
Nervous.
And you was
Yeah.
coming out as anger. Because it looked like a stronger thing
Yeah.
to do than go,
I think that's the only thing that I would like to change in my life was I wish I could have enjoyed more things the first time around.
yeah.
You know?
Well, you're set up for some enjoyment now.
Yeah, and I don't know why you keep talking about me like it's over. I still have a lot of things to...
No, it's going to be a great third act, Andy. PC Paget says, is it medically advisable to combine marijuana, Prozac, and Ritalin? Well, it's Adderall. So I can't say.
I think, honestly, when you introduce Prozac into a thing,
Yeah.
you really aren't supposed to go up and down at the same time.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I thought you meant Xanax. So it's Prozac,
She's asking about your particular cocktail.
which is...
Prozac, marijuana, and Adderall.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh, well, you know what? You know why I think she has a point? Because my brain is so addled, I didn't even know that she was slamming me in a way. Or she's not slamming, she's
I'm
asking.
not even sure it's a she. It's just PC Paget, by the way. So.
Oh, I thought it was Paget Brewster.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they're potentially, I mean, as drugs, they all work together very nicely. But the fact that I have the tendency to self-medicate and overdo things, I'm obviously not a heroin addict.
Right.
I'm not an opium addict.
Right. I'm an opium aficionado.
Hey, did I ever tell you that I tried coke, but I couldn't get the bottle up my nose? Did I ever tell you that I like cocaine because I like the way it smelled?
Someone actually did that joke, and I saw someone.
Yeah, it's not mine originally.
No, I mean, I saw a comic recently doing it. All right.
When are we going to go to the Wendy Liebman? There's so many local rooms we're not doing.
I don't know. Make it happen.
Someone's coming to town. Andy Levy's coming to town. He wants to see us perform.
Yeah. Okay, make that happen.
All right, you fuckface. Can I call
Me
what?
or Andy Levy? Who was fuckface in this?
I called you fuckface.
Wow.
Mr. Weinstein.
That's Mr. Fuckface to you. Chaotic Neutral says, what would you change about The Tonight Show to make it worth watching again? Who hosts?
Jimmy Fallon. It's never going to be. It's over.
Yeah.
The Tonight Show was Johnny Carson.
Right.
And that's it. It's different things now. The slot is the slot. I don't feel that way about Saturday Night Live. I feel like Saturday Night Live, it's almost like a magical structure to that show. You still want to... I'm friends with some of the people, so I'm really pouring it on thick.
Yeah, I don't think that you can make it worth watching again just because that format is 50 years old, you know?
I do feel, here's the people that I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching Seth Meyers. I like his show, and I like the comedy he does, and I like the way he is and the way he interviews. But I'm really, there's nobody, I want there to be something that takes over at night that I can get excited about, that I have to watch at night.
Yeah.
But you don't feel that way, right? There's nothing.
There isn't anything. I tend to watch Brian Williams.
Well, we're glued to that.
The 11th Hour or whatever that is.
You watch Kimmel sometimes? I rarely watch Kimmel.
No, I don't. I mean, the only time I consume any of these shows really is through clips. You know, when I see clips on the internet, or if there's a guest I really want to see, if a friend of mine's doing a set or something, I'll tape that show.
Well, I was watching Conan, and Conan, they did it was kind of cool. I never watched the shorter version as much.
Yeah.
And so David Cross was on. He was very funny. And they did one piece, like a field piece, and it was great. It was Andy Richter he was both the Uber driver and the Uber passenger.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
So, like, when they first said they were going to a half hour, I was like, that can't work. But I guess it is all different in the way that people are digesting it, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mean, Kinnear was a half hour, so you can do it. It's just a different feeling.
But will there ever be a zeitgeisty show again? I think there will be. There'll always be like a Sopranos or a something.
Game of Thrones in this case.
But was Game of Thrones like I got to watch Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean they had like 19 million viewers of a couple of weeks ago show, you know. So it's that's as close as you're going to get as a zeitgeisty show, I think.
Yeah, I felt that way about that.
But I don't think that show will ever be. I mean, I don't even think you'll get a zeitgeisty show like the last few years of
Breaking Bad.
No, I'm talking about nightly shows. I'm talking about
Daily
Show with Jon Stewart. You know.
Yeah. I think something. I think it has to come. Something has to come back again like that. I don't know. I
don't know if it does. I think
you're right.
I think I don't know. Even though I actually just had a meeting today about a sort of show in this sort of arena, I really think that the white guy holding court format needs to change some. You know, I just think that there's too much. I think talk shows are one thing for the most part, you know, and I think, every time any kind of news stuff is just like one guy talking with three panelists.
Yeah.
Getting nothing.
It's a weird thing because the thing is like on a certain level, I have never had more joy watching the news and all these different shows because it's so intense.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it is like, it's like a confluence of that. This is the most gut-wrenching time maybe in history.
Right.
And so like to me, I love watching Brian. Like that might be my favorite show.
Yeah.
I'll watch it every single night, and I'm excited about it. But that's not going to always be that way.
Well, hopefully we'll move into a time where we don't feel like it's just daily shitstorm. You know, I mean,
I hope that happens too.
That's the.
It has to happen spiritually. That's what I'm trying to do spiritually. That's why I stopped. I did disconnect a little bit, and I was like, "Why is this news look so bad now?" Because you're watching it. You've seen it at 9 a.m,
right.
And now you're watching again at 3 o'clock. You either fast forward through the clip, you know. But
that's what I have. I have backed off of that a lot now. Is once I've realized that today's news is looping.
Yes,
I tend to tune out now.
And I'm watching, like, you know, true crime or whatever. But I definitely, if you get off of it, you feel like you could have a normal life.
I've been watching some darn good playoff basketball.
Can you catch me up to date?
As of tonight, the Warriors just swept the Portland Trailblazers. They're now in the finals. In a really, despite the fact that they swept, there was 3 great games.
So it could have gone either way on a couple of those games.
The Warriors came back from 18 down in the second half, like the last 3 games.
Oh man!
And it's 2-1 in the Eastern with Milwaukee and Toronto.
And who's leading?
Milwaukee.
Who are you pulling for there?
I like both teams. I guess I'm pulling for Milwaukee just because I said that to our listener last week, and as well as, you know, it's been a long time for Milwaukee, and I think they're a cool team. So
I think I'm rooting for, what's the other team?
Toronto.
Yeah, because I'm going to move there when things get bad, and they're very nice to me up there, and I got to put my eggs in some of that basket.
You know what they say? It's better to run to Toronto than to live in a place you don't want to.
Is that from the producers?
No.
Oh, what's it from?
Groucho Live with Marvin Hamlish in 1977. Greg Kelly said you should watch Clifford. Martin Short, Charles Grodin, Mary Steenburgen, Dabney Coleman. Absurd but hilarious, even a bit of Richard Kind. Clifford is one of maybe 5 movies in my life that I have left from the theater before it was over.
Really?
I distinctly remember Joel Madison and I leaving that at about the 30-minute mark.
Because I know Sharpling loves it.
Yeah.
I know it's like a cult film for those people who love it. But
yeah, but I don't know if it's real love.
Yeah, okay.
I think there's plenty of Schadenfreude
right
to glean from that movie. It was just, you know, it was like a Jerry Lewis vehicle, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of it just had to do with our mood that day.
But you couldn't take it, right?
But I could not buy in. And I like Martin Short even.
I love Martin Short. And I walked out of that movie Frozen.
Yeah.
And it was at my brother's house. And we were watching it 3D in his thing. And I couldn't that movie is terrible if you're not a year old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all those songs. You're frozen. You're frozen. Everybody's frozen.
Burr was the big one.
And kids love it. You know why the kids love it? Because they're stupid and young.
Exactly.
This is the kind of thing that you don't like when I get on to the pop culture guy.
That
wasn't so bad. The absurdity of my position compensated for the arrogant, blowhardy nature of the attack.
Mark Thompson says, do either of you have lyrics from famous songs you heard incorrectly for years?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone.
Yeah.
Mostly with Beatles. I know Beatles. Anything that was tough to hear in the Beatles song, I got it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Come on. Is it "Come On" is such a joy?
Yes.
That's the actual line?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why I said that. And there were also songs that sounded odd to me, like "Baby, I'ma Want You."
Right.
I don't understand that.
Well, but you at least heard it right.
Right.
I remember my mom thought Big Old Jet Airliner was Big Old Jed Had a Light On.
Why would he have a light on?
I don't know. It's hard for me to separate ones that I just sort of made up parodies in my head rather than misheard. I mean, I did think that it was wrapped up like a douche, like a runner in the night for a while.
Yeah, what is that one?
It's revved up like a deuce.
Oh. I still...
Revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
So here's the thing. In all the years before when you could look up things and... You know, you had to get an encyclopedia. Mm-hmm. I never looked up any of those things.
Yeah.
And so many of them I still don't know the answer to. But now you've helped me with that one. Wrapped up like a deuce.
Revved up like a deuce.
Revved up like a deuce. Well, why would they have to be so close to the word douche?
Man for Man didn't help things with that.
He didn't. Is that a group or a person?
It's a person.
And a group.
And it was the Manfred Mann Dirt Band, I think.
Oh, I told them they would get rid of that. Get rid of the moniker.
Mad City Architect says, what would it sound like if Dr. Joseph Mengele gave Andy his colonoscopy?
Well, I'm here for my colonoscopy.
Well, hello there.
Oh, my God. Who are you?
Andy, oh, wait. You're that little Jewish fella.
Oh, you got excited for a second? Why?
I thought you were one of my cloned Hitlers.
Oh, do you have a problem with... I'm Jewish. Do you have a problem with Jews in colonoscopies?
No, let me just sharpen my scope.
How do I pronounce your last name? Mengele? Mengele?
It's Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Now you know why impressionists love to say the name of the person they're
Absolutely.
Who am I? I'm Dr. Joseph Mengele. You said that you
All
could...
right, let's start the procedure. Is
it safe?
Is it safe? Damn you. Yoshi Yamamoto.
Yoshi Yamamoto.
Hey!
Hey, Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. As a young kid watching comedy, I never found hacks entertaining and enjoyed most of the greats. Well, la-di-da, Yoshi Yamamoto.
Must be nice.
The big exception being Andy Kaufman. I didn't get him until I did comedy. My brain wouldn't let me get past what's funny about not being funny. Was he always funny to you? Yeah, he was always funny to me.
Yeah, he was always funny to me, but I never... Like Sarah Silverman makes fun of, which I think is funny, she makes fun of that he read the Great Gatsby, read the whole thing. Wow, yeah. Sounds great. You know, it's like those things do sound better when you hear them as stories.
Right.
But the one that I was just crazy about was him as taunting people as a wrestler. I just couldn't get enough of that.
That was great. But I mean, even I remember seeing the Mighty Mouse thing as a kid and stuff, and it's just like I think Lotka was probably my first brush with him, so I already had a sort of love for him. And then when I saw more stuff, and I remember I was a pretty young kid when the Jerry Lawler thing was going on, so I did kind of get that fake hate going for him. But then I figured out, as it went, that it was just commitment, But I knew to love him. Yeah. For somehow.
And I think he's absolutely lovable, which is where you can tell that Jim Carrey's performance, there's no love in there. There's love, but it doesn't come out that way. It comes out weird energy.
It's like a fake innocence that he's putting on him.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah.
James Curl says, are either of y'all jazz fans?
I am, but I don't know enough about it. But I'm not one of these people who blanketly rejects it. I do love it.
Yeah. I'm mostly a bebop fan.
Yes, I love. That's the kind of. I don't like Dixieland.
I kind of like Dixieland, but I like seeing Dixieland live. I wouldn't listen to a Dixieland record, but I love Miles Davis. I love Wayne Shorter. I like J.J. Johnson, who's a trombone player. I like the Adderley brothers, who supposedly my parents saw the night I was conceived.
Ooh, is that Herb Adderley?
No, that's Nat and Cannonball Adderley.
Oh, and what did they play? They were sax players, or what?
Nat was the trumpet player, and Cannonball was a sax player.
I love the name Cannonball Adderley.
Yeah, it's a good one. And I like
Benny Carter,
Thelonious Monk. But yes, I like jazz, but I'm not
jazzy.
I'm not a jazz aficionado, and I'm not someone who follows modern jazz at all.
Yeah, I would if they, sign me up.
But that was my dad's big love. Music love was jazz for the most part. PC Paget says, sorry, Adderall. She came back.
Seriously?
As opposed to. Jim Meehan says, in show 106, you misattributed a Human League song to The Fix. Yes, I did.
Oh.
But you just spelled The Fix with one X, so burn back on you.
Back at you.
And botch some NHL history. I'm guessing that was your original 6.
The 16s. Now, someone sent in the 16s.
Okay. I think you should have a word in person with your research department, even if it means going to another building in the Thought Spiral complex.
I think he's right. I think the
song I misattributed was "Don't You Want Me, Baby."
Don't You Want Me,
which is Human League, not The Fix, with 2 X's. Greg Kelly says you should watch Clifford. We already did that.
And now, if you wanted the joke to work, you go. And the other guy says you should watch Groundhog Day. Now, this other guy says you should watch Groundhog Day.
Chris Olson says, "Hey, gentlemen, just wondering what was the biggest gig/opportunity you ever turned down? Thanks for the comic lift every week."
I know one that I was sorry about was had the opportunity to accept a award on behalf of Letterman.
Yeah.
And it was the same week as Montreal.
Yeah.
So I had to turn that down. But I don't have any things like I was up for the role of Graduate or any of those kind of.
Right. But that's a good one.
Yeah.
But you had to turn it down.
I had to turn it down. How about you?
I turned down writing for Letterman. But that was after I had...
That must have been hard a little bit, right?
A little hard, because
Yeah.
that was my dream gig. But I had just come off of 2 years on a talk show, and I also had people on my staff who had worked for Letterman and hated it.
But you would have gotten the job, right? You think? You had it, you think?
Probably. I mean,
And you had to move to New York?
They came asking for me. I didn't call them. So
That could have been fun.
at that same time, I turned down Rosie O'Donnell as the head writer on her then new show.
God,
That was because Allison and I were moving in together at that time, and me moving to New York would not have been cool.
Were you friends with Rosie, or?
She had guest hosted on Kinnear for a week. And loved the stuff I gave her. So,
And was she easy to work?
I turned her down like 3 times because she really wanted me, apparently.
Oh, boy.
But she also fired her first 3 head writers on that show, so who knows if I would have made it more than 2 weeks.
You can't say you would have stayed on anyone's good side.
But she was absolutely pleasant as a guest host,
Right?
And she loved my stuff, so I liked her even more.
Yeah.
But I don't know I don't know how our relationship would have been when it was her show.
I don't think that. I don't think it could have worked, because I don't think doing a show is ultimately. I think she was burnt out on that whole cutie patootie.
I remember once enjoying a rigatoni dish. Says, "Are either of you particularly good at baking? Do you have a signature pie, cake, or third thing?"
I'm horrible at baking. You are an actual. I consider you a chef. I mean, I consider you someone who knows their way around a hoo-hoo.
Around the
kitchen.
hoo-hoo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a kitchen, not so much.
Like you probably can barbecue and everything. I have no idea how to do it.
I'm a good cook. I don't bake. The only dessert, the impressive dessert I make
Creme.
is I can make creme brulee.
Creme brulee, which I've had, and it's delicious.
The reason I didn't like baking is because it's too exact and there's instructions you have to follow. And if you fuck up those instructions, there's nothing you can do to save it once it's all going.
Maybe you should try Blue Apron.
And then in other times in my life where I felt moved to bake or want to learn to bake something, I go, well, then you're going to have a cake in the house, or then you're going to have 2 dozen cookies sitting there, so, and I'm not the kind of person who's like, hey, I made these.
I would think that would be a funny bit
I
for
would
you.
take covered plates to people's houses and go, I made these.
Are you one of these people who calls up 6 years later and goes, do you still have my Tupperware appliance set?
That sounds like me, doesn't it?
Good. It
Doesn't
does.
that
It does sound like you.
We've been doing some good purging of the house, by the way. We've been doing some real nice.
Oh, like getting rid of stuff?
Yeah.
To the Goodwill or?
Lot to Goodwill. Lot to the dump.
Oh. How come you didn't run it by me?
Your house is a dump enough.
Don't say that, because then people will.
Tweet Pahara says, Andy, YouTube recommendation, 12-part, 1 hour each series, The Men Who Killed Kennedy. Thank you for keeping an open mind.
Oh, I'll watch that. This is Tweet, right?
Yes.
Tweet convinced me that he convinced me that Oliver North, what's his name? Who's the guy who makes those movies? Who made the movie JFK?
Oliver Stone.
Yeah, too many things happened in that movie. I'm excited about it. The Men Who Killed Kennedy.
Yes. Tweet Pahara also says, Josh, maybe add a 4th name so it's J. Elvis Weinstein Yamamoto. Then the initial spelled Jewy.
I like it.
Seth Dick III. If you could put time in a bottle, what's the first thing you'd like to do?
If I could save time in the bottle,
Yeah. I would save Jim Croce's life.
I would too, because I really loved him.
Larry Harold says,
If I could save time.
Gentlemen, an existential question. Why are we here?
We are here to learn and to love and to enjoy.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Whatever. Whatever yanks your crank. Perush says, can the next thought spiral just be a Game of Thrones Schadenfreude gloat about with Andy and Josh? That's the question.
General Schadenfreude?
General Game of Thrones Schadenfreude.
Oh, yeah. Boy, am I glad that everyone hates that ending. I have no negative. I don't have a negative Game of Thrones. I've been into shows before.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to put anybody down. Although I do think it's a little bit weird the way everybody weighs in on the end of a show. It's like, just give it a breast.
Right. Yeah, you bought every other arbitrary choice that they made along the way. Yeah, I don't have any Game of Thrones scorn, but I don't have any, I'm glad it's over because I feel better having missed it rather than having been missing it.
Yes, it's true. It's good that it's in the past.
Yes.
Right, Theranos? Is that one of the people?
I don't think so, no.
Jon Snow.
Tim Comrie says, have you ever felt that an aspiration to equanimity and self-acceptance was at odds with a commitment to poke fun at things? If so, how were you able to reconcile the two?
That's a perfect question, and it is a hard line to walk, and I have agonized over it,
Yeah.
So, but I think I'm in a better place about it than I used to be.
Yeah, I don't generally worry about my equanimity because I feel like I've been battle tested enough, and my attitude seems to get me through those things. So, but I do have a commitment to finding the humor in things.
Right. But
that's not always a derisive thing.
It doesn't have to be derisive, but there are some jokes that are derisive, and so I had to learn to let go of my upbringing, which was that everybody was judged so harshly both ways,
right.
And I had to be perfect. The joke has to be right, and everyone else is wrong, and that's just not the way it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make fun of something, and it stings somebody. You may not even know that it stung them. So
right.
I wouldn't drop every joke when I found that every person whose feelings were hurt. So I think it's always a bit of a thing.
Right. But when I think of equanimity, I think of, ability to keep your shit together in a crisis, essentially.
Yes.
Composure.
That's what
So I find humor to be inextricable from my sense of equanimity. I wouldn't have equanimity without humor and an ability to see the absurdity or the stupidity or even the funny thing that pisses me off,
Well, I have a thing where the humor can come from the rage, but sometimes it just goes into rage.
Right.
So I try to stay away from that if I can.
Right.
I lose the thread of humor because I'm so angry.
Right. Tim Comrie's companion question is, it seems common for people both within stand-up comedy and without it to talk of negativity, misanthropy, and dysfunction as being almost essential to the stand-up's personality. Do you hear this expressed a lot? And if so, how has it affected you? Yeah, I think yes. I think comics are often dysfunctional. I think not necessarily misanthropic, but either phobic or there is a quality of being a comic that separates you from people.
Right.
In the sense that you are both participating and observing simultaneously, generally.
Yeah, you can almost say that comedy, not as a rule, but generally it is the ability to separate yourself from the event and to comment on it.
Right.
Not always,
right.
But it can be that a lot.
I think the kind of neediness that creates comics doesn't always come from a healthy place. It is a hole filler for a lot of people.
I think anybody who likes to make people laugh, it's very hard to want to make people laugh and get the joy from that and not have it cross over into dependence. That's what I think. Not everybody has that problem, but
right.
Sometimes I could have that problem, Like, it's a difference between, I want them to laugh and then I have to make sure they laugh.
Right.
Yeah,
and I feel, to me, it's just the performing it part is just the taking the cake out of the oven, kind of. It's I don't feel like my satisfaction comes in completing the task of going, okay, here's this joke I wrote, and it works. You know, it's not, I don't see it as, I guess I don't see it as approval for me. I see it as approval for the joke.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think earlier in my career, I saw it as approval for me. But at this point, my self-worth isn't at stake every time I go on stage like it once was, you know?
Yeah, and I think
it's not negotiable the way it once was.
Right. And that, you know, it is a microcosm of life, stand-up, because how you're feeling in your life affects how you're doing stand-up, and whether you want to. I just feel like I'm lucky that I've never not wanted to do it, and I also try not to analyze it too much.
Right.
Although that's odd to say since that's what we do.
Yeah. I analyze it a lot, but I don't analyze my psychology in it a lot.
Right.
You know, I analyze, do I need to drop that word? Do I need to, you know?
Yeah.
I analyze the chess game part of it much more than the emotional, you know, interchange of it.
I also think that you do have
psychological interchange, I guess.
You have a Zen, almost, it is a Zen type of thing where you don't get attached too much to the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because the more you think about your act, and the more you get into it, like, not you, anybody does.
Right.
And it just is like, I feel like, okay, well, you're now making it into me. I'm making it into too big a thing. You know, just, it is what it is, kind of, in a way.
Right.
Like, and so it's almost the ego is the part that wants it to be, where am I going with this?
Right.
Stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would find something that I liked so much that I don't want to stop.
Right.
Music, I thought, but I actually got bored with music quicker.
Right.
Do you like? It's an effort sometimes to jam.
It is, but it's a whole different. I mean, I come at music from a whole different place, and that is, you know, I don't want it connected with careerism at all. You know,
Right.
So I've never had that part of my ego invested in music. You know what I mean? It was never a path for me. It was always a side thing for me. It was always a thing I did. That's part of my life, but it was never going to be what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
I did.
So I never had
Life and death for me.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, I mean, for Allison, it has been at times in her life too. You know, but that's not where my eggs. That's not the basket my ego eggs were in. You know?
Right.
So that was just something that gave me pleasure and gives me pleasure. And so, you know, and I've been like pretty deliberate about never I've tried to turn Allison stuff into commerce. You know, we made a real album and tried to sell it, but it was like, it you know, I could see making an album, but I could see never releasing it too, you know?
Yeah. It's, I just would like to go, like, I think I'm doing what I would like to do, which is just don't think about it that much.
Right. You know, and I'm not, you know, when I play my songs on the show, it's not to promote the songs. It's to go, okay, this is a part of my life and that I want to share with people.
Well, we all, I mean, the thing I think I'm saying is that the desire to entertain people, it can always get a little poisoned a little bit, depending on your mood and all this kind of stuff. And I think the times in my life I've had the most problems is when I'm putting the pressure on myself. Well, is that it for me? I'm not going to be Stephen Wright, or I'm not going to be A, B. All those things are, it's hard to accept that those are unimportant things. Like, how am I going to be remembered?
Right.
But a lot of people spend their whole life worrying about it, and it's understandable, you know? And, you know, it's like, art is a hard thing to do under any circumstances in terms of making a living at it.
Absolutely.
So, kids, please don't get into it.
Go to school.
Come on. Be an accountant.
M. Ledsome.
I am.
Says, I have no idea how Thought Spiral Time works. You guys pinched Top Spot as my favorite podcast, and I spent Saturday quoting you with fellow Spiral Crash on the Way, a.k.a. Elizabeth, a.k.a. M's friend, as you like to call her. I'm toying with an L.A. trip. Any suggestions? I like wandering about. You got pavements? I think sidewalks is what you mean.
Absolutely. You can, there are a lot of areas that when you get to them, you can walk around in.
That's the thing, is that when you hear people don't walk in LA, I mean, it's basically true, but it's because like every point of interest in LA is spread out a great deal, you know. But you could like go to West Hollywood and walk around West Hollywood, or you go to, or you go to Santa Monica and walk around
Venice Beach. Yeah, even the
but
ones
you
that
can't walk from one to the other, you know.
Yeah, I would try not to. But now you can take the bus.
Spending a day downtown, walking around and hitting a few great art museums is cool. And, if you're interested in, Hollywood as tourists know it, with Grauman's Chinese Theater and Walk of Fame and that stuff, that's an hour.
Yeah.
But it's a nice place.
We
got good food. I know Andy would love to have a meal with you.
I'm into
I'm just kidding. I'll come too.
Oh, I was saying you're backing out of this. I've seen M in London.
I know, and
so
that's why she's safe.
Yeah, that's right.
Plus Trace and Frank too, if matters.
Yeah,
So.
She comes very well pointed. I know what I'm saying.
And Elizabeth responded to her. They're called sidewalks, Em. To piggyback on this, I really liked how the podcast has normalized having really honest mental health discussions and then seamlessly segue into asking me if I didn't get the jambalaya because is it spicy?
Well, that's the thing that they say, the critics say, that they can deal with the important and the not so important. Now you can see why I don't write.
I think we're out of questions. We have a few, there was a few email questions that seemed like they were easy to answer. Peter in Cambridge, Massachusetts says, hey guys, keeping with the NYC in the 70s theme, how about homework with the Pope of Greenwich Village? Mickey Rourke in his pre-prime and NYC in its 70s glory.
I haven't seen that movie.
I have seen it.
Oh, okay.
It's good. Movie. Yeah, absolutely.
I never got through Mean Streets. Is Mean Streets great too?
Scorsese's first? Yeah, that's a good movie. Maria says, hi, you guys are great. I am on episode 32. I cannot wait for the 2018 episodes. Both of you are very funny. Gracias.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Thought Spiral fan in the New Mexico.
Yeah. That means New Mexico.
I think so. Yeah. Anthony says, I see Monty Schlemiel, organizer of all those She's So Fat gags, has passed on. He must have been over 100 years old. His obit says he died peacefully at home, surrounded by his wife. Thank you. I'll be in the Catskills all summer next year, hopefully.
I don't even know who he is. Do you?
No.
Italian guy?
But he got to do his joke.
I like that.
Joe McLeod says, you gents ever watch Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip? It only went one season.
It was pretty.
Hell yes, I watched it with some of the... That was really, I think, my last fully invested hate watch was that show.
I know.
I hated it so much. And I love Aaron Sorkin, generally.
I would watch that.
Not generally, but I loved West Wing, and I loved other stuff he's done. But Studio 60 was such a fucking swing and a miss for me. Unbelievable.
It didn't seem to have any relation to how they would put together a sketch show.
It had no relation to reality in any way. The comedy had no relation to reality. Just the underlying premise that there was a sketch show that was so culturally important, that still existed was crazy even 10 years ago.
And they went out to the comedy.
He actually would rely on the sketches being funny in the show. Oh my God. It was.
I got to see it again.
It was unbelievably painful to watch.
It was fun too.
I mean, it wasn't painful because it was gleeful pain, but boy, did he not get comedy folk.
He did a lot of walking and talking, and a lot of the area was huge that they did the show in.
Yes. Yes. Kevin says, Dear Josh and Andy, I recently visited my parents, and before ordering in a restaurant, they always asked the server, is this spicy? Once the food came, they would then complain that their food was too spicy. Is Andy living a double life as my parents?
Yeah, that sounds like such a parent's thing. And it sounds like my mom was very similar to that too. She didn't want she didn't want to deal with any of the extravagant exoticness of anything.
Right. My grandma would always be, if she didn't like, it's very different. That was her code word for I hate this like fucking poison.
It's very different.
Fletcher says, my roommate says I got to try other cereal than Cinnamon Life. Oh, I've tried them all, but I swear by it. What cereal do you two love most?
I love right now Cascadian Farms. They make a great it's like their version of Cheerios or oats.
Okay.
And I also like Kashi makes a honey oats.
Okay.
And I mix them together because the Kashi has less sugar in it.
Okay.
But those are my two faves.
All right. My all-time fave to this day is Captain Crunch peanut butter.
But you don't have that in the house, do you?
I did as recently as last week. I had to order it from Amazon because it wasn't. You can't find it in the stores anymore. It's like some.
Do you have food delivered?
I don't do groceries from there anymore. We tried that for a while, but it was the second day thing that was always like.
Oh, I see. It would come the. Did you have a whole shipment of stuff once that wasn't even intended for you?
Yeah, I did. Stephen Lefevre says, my girlfriend and I watched The 40-Year-Old Virgin this weekend. I noticed that Andy, Steve Carell's character, had an MST3K poster on his wall. After the movie was over, I looked up who wrote it and noticed it was none other than Judd Apatow of Freaks and Geeks fame. How did Judd get so funny? Did you teach him everything he knows? Well, yes.
We did.
Honestly, yes.
Well, I started out with him, and he rocketed past me.
James Rader says, Rockamole!
What's that from?
It's from our podcast.
Rockamole?
Yeah.
Is that one of our characters?
It's something he said and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and wrote it down and laughed some more.
Man. Well, when you're such a genius like me and you say so many amazing things, it's hard to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And also, not only that, I'm also very modest.
Another genius thing.
I'm the most modest. Hey.
From Andy, David, Kindler, Rotten Dirty Swindler, in the morning.
Josh, I got that book about procrastination you wanted me to read, and you know what happened? I
got through it over the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, that's our fun show for the evening.
We did a good job. I'm very proud of me. Josh, you showed up.
20 minutes away from my birthday now.
I can't even believe it. This is so exciting.
It's very exciting.
I love that you have a birthday.
I'm going to be 48 by the time you hear this, people.
Oh, my God. 48. Well, happy birthday to you when this comes out.
Thank you, sir.
You will already be old news.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so as a birthday present for me, why not go rate us and review us on
Only
iTunes?
good reviews.
Oh, well, that would be a birthday present. The rest would be a birthday slap in the face.
I don't want anybody's constructive criticism.
We're very excited. Check out Zazzle.com/thought_spiral. We finally, we got to, you saw the design I sent you, didn't you? For the Is It Spicy shirt
I think so, yeah.
by Patented Phil.
Is it coming out?
If we want it to, it is. I want to.
Okay, well, let me look. I'll sign off on it.
Okay. So we'll have, hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll have a new Is It Spicy shirt by viewer Patented Phil. And
I plan to watch the Lewis thing this week.
No, you don't.
I do.
Oh, you plan to. Right. Okay. And we're going to watch Bringing Up Baby.
Yeah.
And have a good week.
23 Skidoo, baby. Hey. What's shaking? I don't have a catchphrase.
It's Rotten Dirty Swindler in the morning.